Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Bites. I'm your host, Max Bowen. In this episode, I'm talking with Linda Viens of the band Girl with a Hawk for their recent debut album, Regenesis. Linda talks all about how this album came together, working with Rum Bar Records, and what it was like to debut at the Midway Cafe in Jamaica Plain. Linda also gives some advice for those about to embark on their own musical journey and how they can make sure their message is heard by everyone. Enjoy! Linda, this is a lot of fun. I'm so glad we get to have you back on the show because last time we talked a lot about Hall of Fame introductions. We talked about music. We talked about so much, but now we have a new album to talk about. Regenesis, Girl with the Hawk's debut album. Congratulations to you and the entire band on this really major milestone.
Thank you so much, Max. Thanks for having me back on. It was we had so much fun last time. I know we could have talked for another like 10 hours. Always so much to talk to you guys about. And thank you for the kind words. We're really excited. I've never done vinyl, so it's a really big deal to have an actual vinyl object that we're like, if in a dystopian world, if it goes down, you could crank it up on a Victrola or something. I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Vinyl is
it's
handing
an
in the
object.
apocalypse.
Yeah,
There we go.
it's vinyl in the apocalypse. Exactly.
That
God forbid.
if that is not a band name yet, I call dibs.
Yes. Okay.
I call
I
dibs.
better, I'm writing it down. I better add it to, I have a long list of band names as if I have decades upon decades to create more projects and more bands, but the
Okay?
vinyl in the apocalypse is too good.
It's too good to like not
It's,
snag.
I'm
Absolutely.
snagging it. I'm snagging it.
Now, Linda, from our past conversations, of course, you're not new to the world of music. You're doing this for a while now. But still, what's it like to work on another debut project?
I feel so blessed, Max, because I really am incredibly fortunate to have been able to give music another shot. I didn't have success with bands in the 80s that I had. I mean, we were in a scene. It was a very vibrant scene. It was a very inclusive scene, but the songs weren't like the greatest songs in the world, and we didn't achieve what like the neighborhoods achieved or Shake the Faith or, Nervous Eaters who had come before us or Del Fuegos, but we were in that world and we were very connected and we had an absolute blast. And we certainly had great gigs, but we were sort of leaned into, we were trying to be kind of a hard rock band. Like we were
Hmm.
very into the Stones, Guns N' Roses. We were a little heavier. The scene had really kind of shifted and leaned into, more roots, Americana, Del Fuegos, the Turbines. But I'd come out of the real almost no wave punk scene when I started in like 1981 when the East Village was exploding and the bands like the Slits and obviously Patti Smith was happening. So the roots were punk, and then we sort of shifted with the first band, Children in Paris, was a pretty punk band, and then the band that Dan Coughlin and I, who was in Girl with a Hawk now, of course, again 40 years later, was Witch Doctor, and that was more kind of hard rock, and that just wasn't popular at the time. So we had a million friends, but we didn't have success. So, shift forward. And then in the 90s, I was trying to have a baby. I really was never a person that didn't also want a family life. So I really just kind of, you can't do it all, especially as a woman. It's really hard to like, keep a home and have a job and have a child. And so I had a band, Angeline, with Emily Grogan in the early 90s when our kids were really little and we were both married. So we had support at home, and we did it. We threw it together. Asa Brebner kind of was kind of brainstormed that we should be together and was our producer and stuff. And we had a good run. And as the kids grew and then the teen years were starting to come on, that we both, really took some time. So to have and I've certainly done a million one-offs and had Kingdom of Love, which was a studio project, and did things with Boston Rock Opera, Gary Sharon, got to do Jesus Christ Superstar with him, and So I could do projects almost like theater, music pieces, but I really couldn't have a full-time band or a gigging band for many, many years. I mean, almost 15 years. So then COVID hit and my daughter, was 21 and I don't know, I just realized I think I have another rock band in me. I think I don't think I'm going to leave this earth without doing another rock band.
But you have to. You have
I
to.
just had to. I just had
Yeah.
to.
Is that where the name Regenesis comes from? This is kind of like your reintroduction to like music.
Well, it's funny, just like the name Girl with a Hawk, it was literally poetic inspiration.
Hmm.
I had a list in my phone of so many band names. I liked a lot of them, but then the word Regenesis just popped into my head completely just poetically. And my daughter was in the living room at the time, and I said, I like this idea. What do you think of this word? I actually thought I made it up, which is so presumptuous and funny that the word wouldn't exist, but I Googled it, and of course, it's a biological term that means regrowth and rebirth. So my unconscious provided it, and it really is when I didn't know it at the time, but it is about rebirth. It is about second chances. It is about regrowth. Is about renewal, about shedding skins, and that we as humans are allowed different chapters and allowed to grow and allowed to learn. And if you've taken time off, if you're a filmmaker, if you're a playwright, if you're a poet, and the urge comes inside you to create again, like to follow that urge. And, you know, um, for a lot of women, that's what happened with Justine Koval. She raised our kids are the exact same age, and she was a single mom as I was. And then as the kids grew, and then she started Red on Red Records and came back out and did all these things. And we kind of collided at, I mean, we knew each other back in the 80s, but there was this whole Linda Bean, there was a lot of from Chelsea Curve, there were a lot of people kind of re-emerging, women specifically, but men too. Lee Harrington had 3 kids. He was our first bass player. He had been doing Shangri-La's, but there were a lot of people our age that were like, wait a second, I don't think I'm done. I don't think I'm done. I think I need to still rock. I think I need to still write. And yes, so I think it is about renewal and rebirth. And
Hmm.
uh, yeah.
How would you describe the sound of Regenesis? Because listening to it myself, I definitely get a bit of that classic rock sound, but it's also very contemporary too.
Thank you for saying that because obviously, you know, I'm older, I'm 69, and like my influences are Neil Young and the Stones and the Faces and so many things, and the Clash. I mean, when you've lived that long, like you've heard so much music, it's all inside you. But I also love Dolly Parton and I love Johnny Cash. And so I think what's so interesting is to be a working musician. I started the band in my early 60s, to come back out and be like, uh all that music's inside me. So what is the blend that is what I intuitively hear? So there is a bit of Debbie Harry in there. There is a bit of synth pop in there, and you don't realize it when you're writing it, but it all sort of emerges. And what I like about Girl with a Hawk is it's not, what also makes it challenging, it's not super pigeonholable. It's got some 90s rock, it's got some synth pop, it's got Americana, and when you're one thing, if you are strictly Americana or country or psychobilly or whatever you are doing, you can kind of be slotted in. So the critics are always saying things, complimentary things, but like the mashup of this, that, and the other thing. But I do think it sounds fresh and not dated, which I'm very grateful
Hmm.
that people seem to feel that way, and I'm
Yeah,
so thankful
great.
for that.
Any one song? I mean, I know the songs all have a meaning for you, but is there one song that really like stands out among the nine that are part of this album?
I mean, I think a song like Share It All, or there's a lot of themes that are political and I hope not preachy. I think for me, one of my biggest themes in my own personal life is my love for humanity and my deep regard for humanity and my belief in the ecosystem that the strong should carry the weak, and that, I'm a democratic socialist, basically, that, people should be cared for, and homeless people should be cared for, and that there's so many resources that we should be applying to help humanity across the world, and that every person we meet, which is in Share It All, that lyric, like when I'm walking down the street, all the faces that I see, every one of them is me. I don't see any separation between myself and my fellow humans. And uh so I think that ethos kind of is underscored in quite a few songs, actually. um so I'd say that's really important to me, Share It All, and in as a focus. But I think the last song on the record, Wasn't It Just Yesterday, is in a way the most wistful song, because it's really about how much time has passed, and and we carry all these memories, but then how do we stay in the moment, and how do we still think you have a right to rock in your, and I look to Iggy Pop, and I look to all my heroes and Patti Smith, and I'm like, it took our it took all the rockers getting old for us to understand that music is not ageist. It's about the songs. The kids are streaming. If they like your songs, they're not they don't care how old you are.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I saw
They don't care.
Paul Simon at Tanglewood a couple weeks ago,
Oh my God.
and I mean, number one, he still had it. He still
Oh,
absolutely had it.
what a talent. My God.
Yeah. But the crowd was not just people like his age. It was like young people, people like younger than me, who were like cheering their heads off for him. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
we went to see Dan Coughlin and I, my guitarist, went to see Mike Campbell last night,
mm,
and the Dirty Knobs up in Portsmouth. And he's 77. And my God, it was the most magnificent show. And they did a
mhm.
bunch of Heartbreaker songs and a bunch of his songs from his new album. And Willie Nelson, I mean, come on, it's like, but when we were young, no, 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 none of those people had gotten old yet. So
Yeah,
when you were a punk kid, you're like, no, never the old people.
exactly.
But
Music
it's
is for the young. You can only
great
like have
songs.
that.
And I have so many young friends, and when we play, we try to have, mix of ages playing, mix of bands, Linnea's Garden,
Hmm.
so many different bands that I love, that are much, much younger, but we mix it up. We mix it up, and
Hmm.
our audience is pretty demographically mixed too, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. Two of the songs that really got me, "Beautiful Today." That one got me as I was like driving home the other day. I'm listening to this album, and that song comes on. I'm like, okay, I'm all right. Just keep driving. Just keep driving.
Keep the eyes on the road, don't look at
Exactly.
the ears.
Just ignore the feels for now and until you get home, then you can like fall apart. But that's a beautiful song, and this is the way. That one also like that was that like emotional gut punch to you. Um,
Thank you.
one
Thank
thing I one thing I read that I want to ask about is that some of the songs are actually kind of reflecting like a life lived in bands and in the music world. So how do you distill those experiences into the music?
I guess I don't really know what the alchemical secret is, but I think that one thing I know, Adam Sherman said it so beautifully. We did an interview with Skybar before the record came out, and on his wonderful show, um, Rising, um, and Adam said something so important. He said to me, I think Skybar had asked him about authenticity, or what's the most important thing to you as a songwriter, and he said, truth, telling
Mm,
the truth, talking about what you know, because people can feel it. You can feel a new country song that's like crafted in Nashville, and it's got, the alcohol, it's crafted. You can feel the difference between craft and heart.
mhm,
And for me, my life has been lived in bands. Those people are my brothers and sisters in a way that's just forever, and it's such a special, unique relationship. And I think I don't know, I guess I wanted to speak to it. Like, I'm in love with my friends is very much about band life showing up.
Hmm.
Uh, but that does run through. And the community and the incredible community that we have in Boston, I feel so blessed to have been a musician in Boston specifically
Hmm.
because we've had so many phases artistically. We've had the car. I mean, I was new wave and I went to see the Knack at the Orpheum, and I got to do all of those analog phases where we didn't have computers and it was all DIY, and so I feel like that's the life I've known. So I guess that's just what comes out in the writing.
Yeah. Talking about the good old days, so to speak, in Boston. That reminds me because when I first started doing the show, it was 2009. And social media was just really
Early.
starting out,
Yeah, yeah.
but you had like magazines like The Noise, the Boston
Yeah.
Phoenix was still around. So
Yes.
you had such a vibrant art scene, and that was really how you consumed it. Like you'd be like, oh, the new issue of the Phoenix is out. They got this view on this so and so band. Check it out. So it was a very different time, and like flyers, of course, flyers
Oh,
everywhere.
exactly. I actually got arrested once putting up flyers in
Oh,
Central. Yeah.
seriously? Wow.
Speed pasting flyers on the alley, the famous alley between the
Sure.
Orpheum and
Yeah.
because in 91 I moved back to Cambridge from Boston because I had worked at the Rat and I'd been in the South End in Roxbury actually for about 6 years, and then moved back to Cambridge with Wayne in 91 into Central Square where then the scene was also exploding again with morphine, and that's when we started Crown Electric Company, and there
Hmm.
was a lot going on before kids, and but it was still, I mean, there was, you put up flyers, so we were
Yeah.
pasting in the alley, and we actually got picked up and brought to the Central Square
Oh
Park.
my God.
I know, and held for like 3 hours. I was like, I cannot believe this. We were okay though. Nothing
Oh,
happened.
that's good. But like
They
it's
let
still
us
like
go.
must be thinking like, oh God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Exactly. We were so feral back then though. We just
Yes. Oh, yeah. I used to
Boston.
do that too, like putting up flyers, and I never got busted by other cops. That never happened to me, but it was fun to just go on what I would call my flyer walk because I had all the spots that I always like put up flyers. So I put them in the bag. I got my like packing tape with me. Off I go. You know, put up. And I remember there's this bike shop on Mass Ave near MIT. I forget the name of the place, but they always had lots of flyers. I put up there. There's a couple of pizza places that put them up, and so on and so forth. So it was a different time. It was a very very different time.
Different
But
time.
let us go back to
Yes,
today,
please, please, please.
because otherwise we'll be here all day talking about this.
I
I'm
know.
sure we could
I know.
reminisce about the good old days all day. But let's talk about now specifically the recent CD release show that you did at the Midway Cafe in Jamaica Plain, which everyone talks about. I love the spot myself, but everyone talks about it. What was
Really?
that like, especially when it's like your debut album release show?
You are so sweet to ask. It was so joyful. It was so much fun. I mean, we are so beyond blessed to be on Rum Bar Records. Lou Mansdorf is he's just a king among men. He's got so much integrity and honor, and he loves his bands, and he works so hard on everyone's behalf. And my greatest wish in the entire universe is to get a licensing deal and literally hand that man a check and just be like, thank you for everything.
Hmm.
But everybody on Rumbar is so kind, so friendly, so much fun, such soulful people. So we got to do it with Tad Overbaugh and the late arrivals who I adore, and Stop Calling Me Frank, who are also on fire and have also been playing for 30 years and are also, family guys with kids, and their kids are going off to college, and like we just all share so much about like we are doing this for the love at this stage. When you're starting a band at 60, or 55 or whatever, or you've been doing it all this time, like the Dogmatics, people like that, we're not looking at a long arc in front of us anymore to be like, we're going to get some, then we're going to make it, then we're going to this, then you're just like, this is fun. We are together. Let's have the time of our lives. And that's what that night was. It was just Kristen Eck hosted, who I adore from Bumblebee Radio. She's such a professional. She brings so much gravitas. She does all her research. She's just so great. I mean, Michael Murata, who did our, PR campaign from Nivet, like beyond knocked it out of the park. Like the team we have, the community we have, all showed up. We're all there, and friends from past and present. And, it was just a celebration of Boston, our community, the newbies coming in. Because when we got there, there was an insane punk show happening as a matinee. And when I tell you, I've never seen so many gorgeous, tattooed, beskirted, trans, every kind of possible musician with their massive boards and gear, and I'd say all between the ages of 18 and 22, hundreds of them. And I was like, rock and roll's fine. It
Exactly.
is
Yep.
just
It's
great.
in good shape. It's doing
It
just
is in
fine.
good shape. We do not have to worry. We're gonna phase out at a point, and the torch will be passed.
Exactly.
That is as it should be. But
Hmm.
so that sort of led into the feeling of the night of like all is well, There's no need to be sentimental
Exactly.
because it's alive right now.
Hmm. I like that. Well, Linda, we are coming down to the end of this conversation, believe it or not, but a few more
Can't believe it.
questions. For the other musicians out there, they're getting ready to release their first album. What's your advice for them on making sure everything goes well?
I mean, if you can swing hiring a publicist, it's not that expensive. If you
Hmm.
have something really significant that you want really sent to every music blog really internationally. I mean, the thing about the internet, it's really changed everything in that I would pay for distribution of your singles. Again, it's not that expensive. Mark Platt from Radio Candy Media, it's like $300 a song, but literally when I tell you it's being added to stations in Edinburgh, Iceland, Japan, if you can invest a bit, um, I would say make sure you develop relationships, go out to see other people, cultivate the DJs, go on the radio, make time to go on college radio. All those guys are phenomenal. It's all volunteer, but there's a million shows on, Tufts Radio, Mark Skin Radio, Bumblebee Radio. Um, it just take advantage of the opportunities to get your songs out there. And if you don't have resources, make sure you go on the radio. That doesn't cost you anything. Make sure you talk it up on social media, befriend people, support other bands, make connections. Because in this business, it's all about relationships, how you treat people, supporting other people, following up. If someone asks you to do a favor, like anybody who asks me anything, I pass on anything. Give me your email, pay it forward.
Hmm.
So even if
Agreed.
you're 22 years old, pay it forward. You got an
Exactly.
opportunity, you have a contact at the Midway, pass it on. And then everyone gets lifted up.
Mm, I like that. I like it a lot. All right, Linda. So the big question to wrap this whole thing up that everyone wants to know is what's next for Girl with a Hawk?
Well, I'm very excited to announce that we are playing the Jamaica Plain Music Fest, which is a really
Love
big
it.
deal
Love it.
because we love playing outside, and any kind of festival is just a thrill. And it's the first one we've done in a long time. So we're thrilled about that. That's Saturday, September 12th. Um, we've got some great gigs lined up. We're doing a little mini tour to Providence, New York. We're playing at the Square Root on October 2nd with the Glimmer Stars and the Peppermint Kicks. We're playing down at the Parlor the night before, and then we're head to New York at the Parkside. So trying to get out of town, trying to expand, trying to, be selective about shows. And then we will head back to the studio. I need to get back to the writing drawing board. And then
Ooh,
maybe next year
nice.
going to California, maybe doing some kind of little tour out in Los Angeles is kind of a dream because we've got good
Uh,
friends out there that are on Rum Bar. So, you gotta build up your money. It all costs money, but it's
mhm.
worth it to invest in having some magical experiences as a band. So
Excellent. Excellent.
that's
Well,
where.
folks, we have given you the full story. Now, here is what you do. First off, go to girlwithahawk.bandcamp.com. You're going to find all the music there. Certainly, Bandcamp's a great place to buy music. More money goes to the artists. Also on Spotify, you follow their socials. Check out Regenesis. You're going to love it. And Linda Viens, Girl with a Hawk, once again, thank you. And I can wait until next time.
Thank you so much, Max, and all the best to you with all the good things you have going on.
And that brings this episode to a close. I really hope you enjoyed the episode and picked up a few things along the way. If you want to support the show, please like this episode and share as much as you can. If you want to check out other kinds of episodes, you can find that right here. And to subscribe, it's right there. This has been Citywide Bites, and I'll see you all next time.